Hello, my name is Manish Rai. I'm VP of Product Marketing at SnapLogic. I'm delighted to have Kams Narayan, our Director of Product Management for APIM, join me here today. Today, we have a very exciting, completely reimagined API management solution that we are introducing to the market. It's really groundbreaking stuff. We have reimagined how APIs are created, deployed, and consumed across the enterprise. And I think once you see the demo, you'll really like it. As you know, the use of APIs started growing with the introduction of the internet. So we went from enterprises having just a handful of APIs to today having to manage tens of thousands of APIs. And APIs are the cornerstone for building a composable enterprise. However, it's much harder than it looks. There's several challenges. When you build a composable enterprise, you start with a connectivity layer of APIs that connect to your data sources, your applications. And then you need to break down your applications and workflows into smaller pieces that you can expose through APIs. And then you have the ability to very quickly compose applications and workflows and evolve them as your needs evolve over time. And having separate integration platforms and API systems makes and adds a certain level of complexity. The second challenge is often these API management solutions require developers to be able to use and create those APIs. That adds another layer of friction in creating and managing APIs. And finally, as you scale and start having these thousands of APIs across the enterprise and start using them extensively, your costs can quickly add up, especially if you don't have AI that can determine and allow you to have prevent duplication and drive reuse in that environment. These were the challenges we set out to address back in 2020 when we saw this convergence happening between integration platforms and API management platforms. We started by integrating an existing APIM solution into our platform, and we got good traction with it. We took those learnings from early implementation and built a native solution into our platform, what we call the APIM 2.0, back in 2022. And the result has been pretty phenomenal. It has been adopted by more than 20% of our customers. And I'll give you some examples here. Siemens Healthineers, for example, was using one of the leading API management solutions. And one of the challenges was performance. They had a customer 360-degree application that needed millisecond performance. And they were also dealing with the complexity of having separate API management and integration platforms. By migrating to us, not only were they able to deliver the performance, but they were able to simplify their stack. Similarly, Cook Medical was using MuleSoft, and they were having trouble keeping up with the backlog for APIs that they had. By migrating to us, they were able to lower the total of cost of ownership by 66%, but also improve the time to value and time to market and deliver those APIs far more quickly and reduce their backlog. Some of the primary reasons why customers prefer our API management solution is number one that always comes up is ease of use. Unlike other platforms that often require you to have developers, you can have non-developers using our platform to create those APIs and manage those APIs in low-code, no-code environment. We really lower the barrier to API creation, and that leads us to deliver much faster time to market for these APIs. And finally, by combining multiple integration platforms and API management capability into one, people can significantly lower their total cost of ownership. For example, one of our customers who joined us at our sales kickoff early this year was talking about how they're in the process of migrating from 3 legacy data integration platforms, 2 legacy application integration platforms, and 1 API management platform. And they're combining all 6 of these platforms into our unified data and application integration and API management platform. But we are not resting on our laurels. We have taken all these learnings from hundreds of customers, and we are completely reimagining how APIs are created, deployed, and managed with APIM 3.0. We have looked at the full cycle of API managed and looked at every step of the way and reimagined it and made it far simpler and much easier to use than ever before. We have a no-code experience for designers to create these APIs. We have a no-code environment for users to very easily define comprehensive security and governance policies and reuse them. We have a world-class developer portal creation experience, what we call a Squarespace like developer portal creation experience, where you can create a very powerful portal that is very easy for API consumers, both internal and external. They can easily discover these APIs, test them, consume them, and monitor and track them. And coming back to the creators, they can monitor the usage of these APIs, iterate through them, and deprecate them much more easily. One more development that you all probably are tracking is the Model Context Protocol. MCP has taken the world by storm in the last few months. The enterprises are bound to see a proliferation of MCP servers within their environment. And guess what? We are evolving APIM rapidly, so you can apply the same security and governance policies on your MCP endpoints that you have today available for API. So you can unleash this innovation with the peace of mind needed to have them being deployed in a secure and governed manner. So enough of me talking about what APIM 3 is all about. At this point, I'd love to turn it over to my partner in crime, Kams, to actually show you the reimagined APIM in action. Over to you, Kams.
Thank you, Manish. Our vision for the reimagined APIM manifests itself in 2 new tools, the Service Manager and the Developer Hub. These 2 new tools allow you the freedom and flexibility to manage new APIM services and create a stunning developer portal with customizable pages and detailed API documentation, illustrating both the technical details and the business value. Now, let's take a look at how to build a set of composable APIs that provide the underlying system and process data for the customer agent that you saw in the Agent Creator session. The Service Catalog is your central hub for all your API building blocks, a single place where you create, manage, and control all your different API services, including security and governance policies. All services and policies are reusable, making it very easy to extend existing assets and build new ones. You can create a library of pre-built API and security components and plug and play whenever you need them, saving time, effort, and making everything more consistent with reduced risk of errors. Our highly intuitive user interface makes it easy for both technical and non-technical users. What you are seeing here is an API for service tickets that fetches the details of tickets reported by a particular user who belongs to a customer account. I'm using a trigger task to call the pipeline to fetch the customer information with the customer ID, and it also has other inputs like page number and records per page. The ticket status API uses a trigger task that calls a pipeline that fetches the customer information with the customer ID, and also has page number and records per page to be fetched as the API input. SnapLogic APIM allows you to create a mix of endpoints that are either SnapLogic native API implementations or externally built APIs like partner APIs or public APIs. This composable approach allows you to invoke and integrate these services with the agent creator workflows and tool calling capabilities. Security is paramount. Our tools make it easy to secure and govern your APIs. The one-of-a-kind policy builder represents the policy validation chain visually, making it simple to identify the category and steps involved in creating a rule sequence for an API policy. The first step is to validate a request and detect any harmful threads in the payload that should be blocked. Next, authenticate and authorize users and groups access to an API or service. Then set guards for protecting the infrastructure and applying rate limits or other payload limits to your service for a request and in the response flow to optimize for user experience and to reduce latency by caching the response. After that, do any transformation for an incoming request or response. Finally, set up authentication for an external API or outbound API call. All policies are organized in the policy catalog, greatly simplifying the ability to view all your policies and reuse them across multiple APIs. You have granular control applying policies to entire APIs or specific endpoints. Examples like the auth card and limit request policies use API keys and user roles to control access. SnapLogic APIM is a full lifecycle API management solution. This means you can manage an API from creation to retirement, and a crucial part of that is versioning. As you update APIs with new features, versioning allows existing applications to continue using older versions without breaking. You can have multiple versions running concurrently, each with its own features and security policies. The ticket status API has now been modified to introduce a new endpoint that fetches the details of a particular ticket and gets a history of all the conversations recorded between the customer and the service representative. All of the executions and API stats are available to track and analyze through our Monitor application. The metrics allow you to study the API usage patterns and generate insights for areas of improvement. Completing the lifecycle is DevHub, the front door to your API ecosystem. Most API management players have long neglected the API consumer experience, but we are changing all that with the new Developer Hub. Our portal site builder creates more than just a catalog of your services. You get a single source of truth about what services are available and how to use them. Starting from one of our professionally designed templates, our graphical site building tools let you customize your portal to fit your business. With just a few clicks, you can publish the site to get your developer experience started. Managing a service lifecycle is just a few simple steps. I'll select public as the access level for this service. The validation tool provides guidance on any errors and warnings flagged during the governance check process. Once these errors have been identified, the API is now published to the developer portal. On the developer portal site, I can now view the ticket status API in the API catalog page. You can also see the customer agent is published to the portal under a different category. This new approach creates a unified and streamlined ecosystem for API management, making things easier and more efficient. Reusability of API components and security policies saves time, effort, and the intuitive visual enforcement is a huge plus. The Developer Hub enhances the experience for API consumers with clarity and ease of use. A centralized, well-documented API ecosystem has the potential to change how you work with digital services and applications, empowering everyone to do more with APIs and accelerating innovation by removing barriers. This is an exciting evolution in the world of APIs. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.